Yo, so just want to give some thoughts and an overall review on the Starlight Phantom that dropped earlier this winter. So this is really an incremental refresh to the Starlight-12s that came out earlier in 2021, like the Aries 80s, whatever they were. With some exceptions, it's really roughly equivalent to that drop with a couple improvements, and it's still kind of got the industry-leading specifications that were advertised. So it's got a sub 50 gram weights, the kind of proprietary whatever final sensor thing. They upgraded the switches to KLGM 8.0 switches instead of Omron's to be a bit more tactile, which is a nice change. Still has that magnesium shell, which is very, very sturdy feeling and durable, and still a wireless mouse. All of these things make it pretty much a top contender, but it is like $200. So there's some details on the mouse that you should probably know about, being that it's $200. You kind of want to know everything, and you want it to be the best, right? For that kind of price. So I'll go over kind of the box contents and overall. It's pretty minimal. In the box, you'll find the mouse. It's got the wireless receiver thing, USB cable, the extender cable to get the receiver closer to your mouse, and just a couple of documentation cards, a user manual, and something about how to change your DPI or something like that. You don't get any additional mouse feet, and you don't get any grip tape. Other companies are doing that, especially with the mouse feet stuff. Pulsar, HyperX, Cooler Master, a bunch of these companies are now including additional mouse feet for replacement later on if you want those, and some even Cooler Master are giving you grip tape, which isn't the best grip tape, but it's nice to have that in a box. But Finalmouse isn't doing that. I wish they would do better in this department, but obviously they will do whatever they want and people still buy their stuff, so whatever, right? As advertised, and as I mentioned, the GM 8.0 KO switches have a really, really strong tactile feel, but they're also a bit loud. So it can be a little bit disturbing if you got other folks living near you, or roommates or whatever. But I'm good with that. I didn't experience any issues with double clicking or debounce problems. You can't tune the debounce, unfortunately, as far as I know. And based on some review sites, the click latency is a little bit higher as compared to other competitors, but that is kind of a minute difference overall. It doesn't really influence that much. Unfortunately, as far as quality control kind of thing goes, I did find that the click force varied kind of significantly between my medium copy here and my small copy. My small copy seems to require more force to kind of actuate these switches. That might just be a manufacturing tolerance thing. It might be something with the shape, or it might be just, I don't know. But Finalmouse does claim that the GM 8.0 switches that they're using are binned. But I think that's more on a per mouse basis for equivalence between left and right click, which I do admit is, pretty good. They both feel pretty consistent or equivalent between the two for both the small and the medium. But between the mice themselves, they are a bit different. That could be something that can be improved, although that might be something that also falls onto KO, being Chinese manufacturer, whatever, quality control, whatever. I don't know, but that could be improved, in my opinion. As far as the stock skates go, they're good enough, just about on par with any other aftermarket PTF feet that you can get. So, your Tiger Ices, your Core Pads, your Hyperglides, whatever you call them, whatever brand you like, they're bioequivalent. Overall friction, static friction, and dynamic friction are both about in line with what you expect with these. So low static friction, pretty low dynamic friction, feels free. They're thick enough so they won't be dragging on your mouse pad, even the softer ones. So yeah, decent feet. You can replace them with like the Poster Super Glides, whatever you want, but I don't think I have a need to do that with this mouse. Durability is good overall. It feels solid in the hand, despite it being super light. And it doesn't bend or creak under normal use, but if you do squeeze on it, you can feel a little bit of creaking and a little bit of the shell just moving a little bit, or shifting. That's a minor complaint I've got with this, and for $200 I wish that could be fixed or controlled out, but that might be something more with the design or the shape or something else with how the shell is put together. But yeah, wish that it felt a little bit more solid, right? Something like even the G305 feels much more solid when you squeeze it. The Rocat Burst, which is in the multi kind of side, middle side kind of assembly, also super solid. So definitely an improvement that I'd like to see. One of the weaker points about the Starlight, in my opinion, is going to be the coating that you'll find on the mouse. It might be a consequence of them using magnesium. It might be expensive to do like a coating or something else, if it's even possible. So there's no rubberization on it. So if your hands are a bit like sweaty, it can kind of slip around, and you might not have the best grip on it. And the sides are made of plastic here, so I got grip tape on it, but the sides are made of plastic, and it's also not rubberized. So if you got sweaty hands or a certain kind of skin type, grip type, sweat type, whatever, you might find that the coating is not that great on this, and I would agree. Side buttons, it's a minor thing, but some people care. They're a decent size, but not too big to the point they're intrusive, even on the small mouse, although they have kind of small hands and smaller fingers. But the small mouse is a small mouse, so if your mouse is too big for it, or your hand's too big for it, I wouldn't really advise using it because it is really kind of small. As far as battery life goes, it's pretty insane. It's insanely good. I would say it's about the same level as what you find from Logitech. Not the G305, but more from like the GPX Superlight. I've never run out of battery despite going like 2 or 3 weeks without charging it. I've used the mouse pretty much all day, but maybe not for gaming. But we're talking like 4 to 8 hours at least per day using it. But yeah, not having to charge it. I don't even remember getting like a low battery indicator from the flashing light. So yeah, top tier battery life. As far as how it feels in game, that's a little bit more of a discussion. It kind of comes down to you personally, but I'd say the ultralight nature of the mouse kind of really makes it feel super free. So you can do like large sweeping motions. You can also do like little micro adjustments, and they both feel really natural, just from being super light, as well as having decent skates and having a good mouse pad, whatever. The downside to that is that if your grip ever feels kind of insecure, if you're doing like a fingertip grip, but the shape might not be the best for you to hold on to things, or you're lacking confidence in your grip, you can't do certain movements smoothly, whatever, you can find yourself over adjusting or over exerting force. So that often manifests as a bit of shakiness, especially if you're trying to do like a tracking kind of thing. You might find yourself shaking a little bit along the way, or being unstable, whatever, especially when you compare that to like a 60-gram mouse or something else like that, which I would say inherently has like a little bit of smoothing as a result of that weight. So that's something to look out for and pay attention to, especially if you're coming from something like an 80-gram mouse to using this. It's a bit of an adjustment. And even for myself, I've been using this for 3 months. Coming from like a super light, I still find myself shaking or feeling uncertain sometimes. So to sum up the performance with it, it's really been kind of really high highs because it's so light and it feels so free and feels overall so natural. But on some days, because it's so light and maybe my hands aren't gripping the right way or something else like that, I do have some days where I'm just a bit too shaky or something else for using this. But it's still my overall main. I still consider it kind of more or less top tier in pretty much every respect, with the exception of that coating thing I talked about, and a little bit of the quality control can be a bit better, especially for $200, right? I would say it's the best overall for performance. Maybe not so much in terms of ergonomics, build quality, and for $200, you want to expect the best out of the company that you're buying for. You're not always getting that with Fountain Mouse, and everybody kind of knows that. And this is $250 on StockX, so it's not as bad as the original drop where people were selling it for like $350, $400. So you can still get this. It's more attainable now, but if you don't want to spend that much money, honestly, just get like an Orochi, or get a Polestar X-Lite, or get a G305, or any other option for like a quarter of the cost will get you 80%, 90% of the way there to this. And you really don't need this, right? It's just if you want the best and you can afford it, right? That's all I had for today, and thank you, and see you.